Hello! Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about anxiety during lockdown or during the easing of lockdown. In the UK, I don't know where we are on how many days and weeks and all the rest of it we've been in this, but things are looking different. Scotland and England have different easings. England are much more eased than we are. Things seem to be a bit more, they're on the right direction, but we are keeping safe and it's good. But things are definitely easing. We can now meet with other people, 2-metre distance. We can go out as many times as we like in like open spaces and stuff. And they're talking about when schools are going back and when pubs will open and all that kind of thing. I think things are going to be probably different for a long time, but that is where the anxiety kind of comes in for me. A lot of us here on this channel have anxiety disorders and have had anxiety disorders for many years or months or whatever situation you're in, and so we're dealing with a lot of stuff before this happened, and now this has happened. It's adding obviously quite a lot, and there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that are adding to anxiety. But at the beginning of this, I remember saying to my dad, like, I had a proper tantrum in the car with my dad. Being totally honest, I was like, Dad, I do not think I can deal with this. And I was crying and I actually stormed out the car, being totally honest, and I was just angry, upset, scared. You know, we didn't know what this would look like, and the easing of lockdown is kind of similar in the way that we don't know what it's going to look like, and so it can be really difficult. But we do know that things are going to get better and easier, hopefully, and if they don't get better and easier for us individually, we know that we've been here before. I suffer with agoraphobia and panic disorder, so those things do not mix well with being told you have to stay in your house and outside is dangerous. So it's a difficult thing that I think is going to just be waves. I think we are all going to have days that feel really difficult, and the constant change is something that's really unsettling for a lot of us. Even when things are getting better, it's difficult going through the changes constantly, because change is something that's really difficult sometimes. So yeah, I just thought I would talk a little bit about different things that could be helpful for you if you are worried about the easing or just generally lockdown. The first thing is, don't focus on what everyone else is doing. You will have probably noticed that everybody has been reacting to lockdown differently. You might have some friends who are taking this extremely seriously. Me. I've been maybe slightly overboard on making sure that the 2 meters is enforced, and maybe being a bit, you know, overly cautious, which, yeah, I guess, and then sometimes I'm not as bad, so I've been kind of in the middle. You might have some friends that are finding this a lot easier to deal with. Maybe they're somebody that's still working, maybe they're nurses. You might have family members that aren't taking it as seriously as you, and that's where it's really difficult when there's the conflict, especially when you're living with them. I'm lucky to live on my own, so I don't have anyone else to worry about except how safe I'm being. So yeah, there's going to be lots of different people reacting to this in different ways, and especially as the easing starts more, people are going to make choices of whether they want to go into the pubs that open, go and send their kids back to the schools that are opening. You know, people are going to have to make choices, and it's okay whatever choice you decide to make. There's so many different opinions, and there's scientists saying some things, there's governments saying some things, and even scientists are disagreeing on things. So it's really difficult for us to make decisions. But whatever feels safe and comfortable for you, it's really important that you follow that. It doesn't matter if all your friends are meeting up and you don't feel comfortable with that, then you don't go. It's really important that you listen to yourself, and if you're going to put yourself in a position where you feel unsafe, then you're going to feel more unsafe in your body and your anxiety as well. So it's really important that you don't worry too much about what other people are doing and how they're reacting to it, and you listen to what sources you feel comfortable listening to, and you go at your own pace. The next one is logic. This is very important and something that I'm constantly trying to follow. For example, the other day I took my bins out, and I live in a flat, so I don't have like bins, I have shared bins on the street. So I took my bin out, opened it up, popped my bin in, and then walked away. And I was walking to the beach and I bit my nail on the way to the beach, and then I was like, oh my god, I just bit my nail, and I opened that bin, I'm always really careful when I'm outside not to touch anything, so I really panicked myself and freaked myself out that I definitely 100% had the virus, because the government and scientists have had to make it very clear to the public that this is a very serious thing that could happen and it can affect people. It's kind of felt like everything outside you touch, or if you come into contact with anybody that's less than 2 meters, then you will definitely get the virus. That's how I've been feeling. But I've had to remind myself, it's very, 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 very unlikely that from touching something you will get the virus. However, you definitely can get the virus from touching something and not washing your hands afterwards. So if you're somebody that's worried about things like going to the shops, if you have a mask on when you're going into the shops and you have hand sanitizer for before and after the shop, let's just say that, and you're roughly trying to keep a 2 meter distance as much as possible, that isn't always possible, but you're trying to kind of do that, it's so unlikely that you will get the virus. Even that being said, most of us that get this virus are very unlikely to become seriously unwell from it. I've known a couple of different people that have had the virus, some that have definitely had it and been tested positive and that have been in hospital, and some that are pretty sure they've had it but they weren't able to get tested. And they're all fine, and when they were experiencing the virus they were okay as well. I've also known people that have had complications with it and they are still okay now, they have recovered from it. So the likelihood of being seriously unwell from COVID is unlikely, and if you're taking all the precautions and stuff, it's very unlikely as well. Also, we've not been in lockdown for no reason. The reason that we've had a lockdown is because they needed to slow the spread of the virus. They needed to get people to isolate so that they definitely didn't have the virus, and now things are starting to ease. Things wouldn't be starting to ease, especially in Scotland, if it wasn't safe to do so. And so when people don't have symptoms, it's highly likely that they don't have the virus. So with all that being said, it's obviously really important for us to still stay safe, but using logic, I'm constantly trying to say to myself, oh, that person came within 2 meters of me. I know it's very unlikely to get the virus outside. I know I probably won't have it from walking past that person, and also if I do get the virus, I know I'm probably going to be okay. Always kind of using logic helps me. The next thing is, it's a really good time for us to get to know ourselves without the work schedule. I know there's a lot of people that are still working from home or are still having to go into their workplace or are starting to go back, but a lot of us have more time, and we are in a cycle in society of you sleep at this time for this many hours, you eat at these times and you eat this type of food, and you do these things within a day. That's kind of been taken away from us, and we've been told we don't really care what you do as long as you stay in your house. So we have been given a really, really nice opportunity to understand ourselves more. A lot of us need more or less sleep than 8 hours. A lot of us might actually function better when you have a nap during the day. A lot of us might function better than having smaller meals or snacks throughout the day rather than 3 big meals. And now is a really good time to experiment with that. When you have time, you have 24 hours in a day, you can experiment with what kind of sleep patterns make you feel the best, how much walking or exercise you do throughout the day that makes you feel your best, what kind of foods, sometimes certain foods trigger anxiety, what kind of foods are good for you. I've been really enjoying the aspect of lockdown of sleeping whenever I want to, really being allowed to follow exactly what my body's telling me. If my body is telling me that I am tired, then I need to rest. Really, really simple stuff that we have just been forced out of because work comes before everything else. But it doesn't anymore. We've all learned that actually there's a lot more important things than that. The next thing is online groups or counselling. I have used these a lot. I have 2 different groups that I meet up with different days. on a Monday and Thursday I meet up with some friends and we have like a kind of counselling group where we all have about 20 minutes to talk and just talk and talk and talk as much as we like, and then we kind of give each other a bit of feedback or are there for each other. But that's been really, really nice. And on a Tuesday night I talk to a group of about, I think, 10 to 15 people, and we have a theme every week, and we just kind of, it's really nice to go into somebody else's world for a while, because I think we're so in our own worlds all the time that it can kind of get really, that's when things start to get difficult, and that's when I start to feel anxious, when I'm in my own world for too much and I'm just with my own problems all the time. So I found those two really, really amazing. And also counselling. I've been doing counselling over the phone for about 2 years. Because of my agoraphobia, I found it really difficult to leave the house, and the counsellor that I was seeing was just a little bit too far for me, so we decided to move onto the phone, and it's worked for 2 years, and I pay her the same amount of money, and I've just, that therapy has completely changed so much. I wouldn't be in this flat by myself, I wouldn't be as well as I am without that, and she's just amazing. I absolutely love my counsellor, and it might take a while to find a perfect counsellor for you, especially on the phone and online. I think you need to have quite a good relationship. But online counselling and over the phone counselling is just as beneficial. I'm a massive, massive advocate for therapy. I think therapy is absolutely amazing. I'm still uncovering things that I never thought were a part of my brain now, and I've been in therapy for a really long time, and it just helps me so much, and I cannot recommend phone and online counselling enough. It's just been amazing, and it's 1 hour every 2 weeks for me, and it's just really, really great. And the last thing is to create. You might not feel like you are a creative person. Maybe you are bad at drawing or bad at knitting or whatever it is, bad at playing instruments, but creating is so much more than just whether you're good or bad at something. It's about the actual process of it. There's loads of studies into doing two-handed things, and how that affects the brain in a really positive way and is really good for distraction, which is why I like knitting. I like painting. I've been painting recently and I'm really bad at it, but I really enjoy it. I've been doing bits of drawing, I've been writing, loads of different things, and creating is one of my favourite things, and it just takes up so much time. Time just goes past so fast when I'm painting or when I'm drawing or when I'm knitting, and it's just really, really nice for me to have a two-handed action. Similarly, it's not creative, but having phone games really helps me. If I'm feeling really anxious and just not great, I'll put a game on my phone and I can play that for a really, really long time, and it just takes my mind away from what I'm thinking about. Also, reading is really, really important for me, because it's the same thing of going into a different world and experiencing something else that's not your own stuff. So reading in the bath is one of my favourite things to do. So just generally self-care, but particularly in creative stuff, I've really found that's helped me so much. So if you've been thinking about it, I guarantee you it will calm you down. It will make you feel productive as well. It'll make you feel like you're doing because you're doing, but in a really no pressure way. There's no way that it should look or turn out, or it's just for you. It's not for anybody else. So I've really enjoyed that. So that's everything I have. I know that this time is going to be so mixed, and some days you will feel like you can do this and some days you will feel like it's really difficult. That is absolutely okay, and you are not the only one experiencing this. I think a lot of us that have severe anxiety don't really know that many people in our real lives that have anxiety in the same way as us, but we all totally understand here how this feels and how lockdown might feel like it's pushed you off your journey of recovering from anxiety, or you might be feeling like you're back at the beginning of your anxiety. That's not true either. You have built up so much resilience and so much knowledge and bravery, and you are not at the beginning, you are not starting again. This is a bit of a wobble, and it's a wobble for everybody. There's so many things going on in the world right now that are just so much weight and heaviness, and I just know that we will all get there. And you know, the fact that somebody is online making this video means that you're not the only one experiencing this. It's really difficult, but I really think that we're going to get there, and I think that we're all so brave for continuing on this, and it's okay to just give yourself a bit of a break. That's why I've said to create and stuff, just to not focus on anxiety for a while and just focus on something else. So yeah, I hope you're all doing okay, and thanks very much for watching this video. Bye!